our chair mentioned, we're going to wait just a tad bit longer since folks are signing in, and we'll get going. Hey, Rochelle. And there's Janelle. She was at council last night too.
She had lost.
What was that, Bernie?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
You bet.
Okay. Hey, yeah, sorry guys.
And then Bernie, just for our records, can you please add your last name on under your photo? Do you know how to do that?
No.
Okay, I can guide you. I'll see if I can do it for you. Hold on.
Hey, there you go. I'm a guy. I don't know how to do this stuff.
I'm with you, Bernie. I don't know how to do it either.
Right. I think you lost me now.
No, we can hear you.
You're still
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yep.
It was good seeing you last night.
You as well.
Okay, Corey, if you're, and you are recording, so I think we can probably get started. Call this meeting of the Behavioral Health and Housing Subcommittee to order. We'll get the approval of the minutes from our November meeting if somebody wants to move to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from November.
Thank you, Dane. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kim. Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes from the November meeting. All in favor, aye, or raise your hand. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. So we'll go to a connecting point update, Dane, if you're ready.
Sure. I did December and then I did the whole year. And I don't know if Corey wants me to cover both. I think the year is exciting too, but yeah, let me share the screen. It's probably easier to read than listening to me. Give me a second.
And Dane, when I send out the follow-up after our meeting, I'll include both your December and the year.
So in December, we served 316 individuals. I think you're seeing my sheet, 149 males, 75 females, 92 unknown individuals, did 62 showers, 57 of them had an ID, and then 54 of those were unduplicated, so we served 54 showers. Ages, we actually got some ages. Mary's been great about getting me ages lately. And so about 18 to 30, 17, you can see our highest is 31 to 50, about 61 people identified in that age group, 50 or 22 from 51 to 64. We were able to unduplicate that. So I only had 137 with individuals that had IDs and 123 of those unduplicated. So we don't capture an ID in all 316 people, but we did capture an ID where I could unduplicate that. And that was 123, 84 of those male, 39 miscellaneous and adapt. Mary's had a lot of numerous items. So I just put them in miscellaneous and trying to break them up like backpacks or just, different things. So 401 clients took those resources, 230 wound care kits. And then I broke up the necks between smoking supplies and actually neck syringes. And so you can see 213 people, but I broke it up into smoking supplies is heavier than the actual syringes. Food resource, about 207 people. And then naloxone, 133 people identified taking it. 73 on the sanitizers, 54 condoms, and the fentanyl test, 42. 26 hygiene. We actually had 4 live tests done at OTP. Now I'll share I'm really excited about this year because it really gives a good picture of how many unsheltered people we have in our community. But give me a second to share it. So total services that Connecting Point provided last year were 2,273 people utilized our resources, about 1,257 males. So we're heavier in males, 748 women, 268 we couldn't identify. we had 1,248 people that actually had an ID, so that we could unduplicate it. So the unduplicated number is 754. Again, heavier in men than females. So 487 males, 267. And then the showers, we had 602. And the team with the shower running the showers has been great at giving me where I can unduplicate that. So 552 did have an ID. And so we had 414 unduplicated showers. Again, the age group, we captured about 623 ages. And again, that 31 to 50 is the heaviest, but I mean, the next one is 51 to 64. And to me, that's concerning when a lot of elderly are out there on the street. And then, because most of the people that we deal with in Connecting Point are housing insecure. So wound care kits, about 1,291. Miscellaneous resources, 1,123. That includes some blankets we gave out there. Socks, 989. But smoking supplies, 788. Naloxone, 622 doses. That saved a lot of lives out there. Neck services, 612. Hygiene kits, 547, or hygiene products, anything that identified as hygiene. Condoms, 494. Sanitizer, 315. Food, that included some water too, that got checked in there, so 215. 104 live tests, 89 fentanyl test strips. Pet food, about 68 people took it. I mean, that's a hard one we don't always have pet food available. And then 7 home tests and 3 referrals. I'm assuming there's a lot of referrals that aren't captured that happen out there on the street, but I am really impressed with our team. And I think, the 754 is a more ideal number of where our unsheltered in our community lies. And so, I mean, they may change where they're at every day. Maybe they get a garage or a couch to sleep on, or get into Bernie's camps, things like that. But I think that gives you more of a pretty good impression of what we're looking at in our communities. And that's mainly focused in Winston, Roseburg, and Sutherland numbers. So we do have a lot of assistance that's needed out there to help our unsheltered. But I appreciate you letting me share that, Corey. Any questions?
Dane, the fact that the shower trailer was down for a while, that probably affected your shower numbers a little bit too, didn't it?
Yeah, I think there were 2 months that we had the shower trailer down this last year. So yeah, that probably does affect the number of showers that we were able to give. But the team's still out there trying to help people. So I just think it's impactful that we help a lot of people. And so, overall services, 2,273. I'll do some math on like how many, we do it 5 days a week, but we really are helping a lot of people, and success is happening out there on the streets.
Absolutely. Those are definitely impressive numbers. And the people that you identify as having ID, those that don't have ID, are they not having an ID period, or are they just not, you don't
Well,
ask
that's
for
why I
it or
kind of
something
break.
like that?
Well, our ID is like, I'm M66ZA. We came up with an identifier, so there's no private information contained in it. So like, I'm a male. I was born in 66, and my first 2 initials are ZA. But if somebody was to see that, they would have no idea who that was. So that,
Okay.
when I talk about we collected, 1,248 people with that ID that we made up, so that we can kind of unduplicate that. That's the only way we could figure out on how to unduplicate it. Does that help?
That's a good idea. You bet. That's a good idea. I appreciate that. Any other questions for Dane?
I don't have a question, Ellen, but I just wanted to say on January 16th, one of our drug court participants had her warm connection event, community event, and we tied it in with the Connecting Point location at the opioid treatment center. And we served 72 people. We had a little clicker, so we were keeping count. And we had warm spaghetti, we had rolls, we had some little mandarin cuties and granola bars. and everyone seemed very happy. We also had 50 individualized little bags that had a stocking hat, some gloves, some hand warmers, I think some sanitizer, and a few other little things for folks. And those all went. So everyone seemed happy and thanked us for the meal and seemed to enjoy what we provided. So that was a good event.
We'd love to have you anytime, Corey. That team was amazing, and I'm sorry I should have mentioned that too. And they did a bang up job.
I was very proud of her.
You bet. That's great. Thank you, Dane. Thank you, Corey, for sharing that, because that is very important. No other questions for Dane. We'll move on to behavioral health updates. And do we have Cheryl?
Yeah, hi.
There you go. Okay, thank you, Cheryl.
Yeah.
I missed you for a moment there. Go ahead with your update.
Okay, I'll start with impacts. And in quarter 4 for impacts, we had 876 services that were provided in 476 encounters. There were 61 jail inreaches. And so as of January 1st, 2025, we now have 659 total cohort members. And so those are individuals from the beginning of the impacts program that met criteria to be in the cohort. Once a cohort member, always a cohort member. Our attention is really focused on the individuals who are currently meeting that criteria of 4 or more incarcerations in 1 calendar year. And of those 659 total cohort members, we have 103 individuals that are meeting that criteria. So that's really where we're focusing our attention, our jail inreaches, our community outreaches. But if an existing cohort member, one of the original cohort members, needs services and is able to get in touch with us, we'll certainly provide those. So I think our biggest area of success in the last year has really been our coordination with the jail and being able to get into the jail, provide services. It's one of the few programs that can really get in and do services while somebody is incarcerated. And that's leading to a lot of success. We have one of our original cohort members who they met criteria back in 2020 and 2019 when we first started, but they continued to meet that criteria of having 4 or more incarcerations last year. So we were able to get in and provide services while they were incarcerated and make some arrangements for them to interview for sober housing. And since their last release, they have been stably housed in sober housing in the community. And for this individual with years-long pattern of incarcerations, that's a really big achievement. So we're pretty thrilled for that person. They are recently gained employment too. So we're excited to see where they're going with that. Our resolution rooms in quarter 4, there were 44 stays in those resolution rooms. Of those 44 stays, people are getting case management, peer support, food items. 26 of those 44 people received crisis counseling, crisis intervention, safety planning. Clothing items are a really big one. People come in crisis without adequate cold weather clothing items. So we're able to provide those. Mobile crisis, man, they had a year. So I looked at total number of calls over 2024, and that was 2,595 total calls. So they were really quite busy. It tends to come in waves for them. When it first switched into some really cold weather, things were really quiet for the last couple of days. But I just saw a shift report. One team had something like 17 calls in one 10-hour shift. So they were call to call to call to call. And it's pretty exceptional, the level of work that they're able to do in the community. Our stabilization for youth service, that's part of mobile crisis. So when the 988 laws rolled out on January 1 of 24, part of that was that any youth under the age of 21 who received a mobile crisis encounter would then receive a period of 8 weeks stabilization for the youth and their family to try and avoid the youth going to the hospital setting or having further mobile crisis encounters. So in Q4, we actually had 39 youth and their families who had mobile crisis encounters, who then went on to get 8 weeks of stabilization services. So, oftentimes when a youth is in crisis, it's not just the youth in crisis. It's not necessarily a behavioral problem, but it's more of a family conflict issue. And so that program really works to address stabilizing the entire family unit. And then our sobering center also had a pretty tremendous year. They had a 77% census growth this last year. So we had 150 admissions in 2023, and we went up to 266 admissions in 2024. We recently had our biggest day where we had 5 different individuals sobering at the same time. And so 5 of our 8 rooms were full, and it was a really good learning experience. We have had to look at developing some on-call potential. So really, depending on the type of substance someone is sobering from, it really depends on how much staff that we need there, but we're figuring that one out. I put down a list of where our referrals are coming from. And so I think when we originally look at this list, it looks like the ADAPT's mobile crisis team is bringing in a lot of those admissions. So it's really, there's been a shift that the mobile crisis team is really admitting probably more than half of the admissions are coming from that. But during a recent meeting, we were talking with law enforcement, and we decided that we needed to dig a little bit deeper, because I think most of those are originating from calls for law enforcement, and then mobile crisis is co-responding, and they're able to do a safe transport over to the sobering center. So we've created a couple of different measurements where we're going to start taking a look to see where those calls, what cities those are originally coming from. And then, our staffing has been super stable over there, and that has allowed for us to have peer supports that are out in the community, following up with our folks who are discharging from the sobering center and helping to get them into some longer term treatment. So I am happy to answer any questions if anyone has them.
So do you attribute the increases both for mobile crisis and the sobering center for the fact that maybe the programs have been up and running long enough that people know about them, or are we looking at an increase in problems, or is it just because maybe these things are more known now in the community?
I think it's a combination of things. I think for mobile crisis, it's certainly that it's becoming more known and it's becoming a known resource. I think for the sobering center, it's really interesting to look at the context of what was going on when the sobering center opened. And it opened at the tail end of 2021 when COVID was going on, and nobody was going to jail for anything, only the most serious of crimes. And so our population that was focused on individuals that were being incarcerated due to intoxication, they weren't really meeting that criteria. And so I think that as more people have started going back into the jail system, we've seen those numbers increase. And I think mobile crisis ability to safely transport somebody to the sobering center has also done a lot to support law enforcement in that.
Very good. Yeah, I'm impressed with the numbers, obviously, and I think that ADAPT and all the mobile crisis and sobering center, all that stuff has been very, very helpful to the community. I'm hoping that people that need help going through that understand that its help is available. Is there any other questions for Cheryl? Okay, thank you, Cheryl. Very good report. Thank you. So you're on Mercer Medical Center Behavioral Health Unit, but I don't think Lindsay's here, is she, Corey?
No, and I didn't have an email, so I think she was still pulled away. So we'll go ahead and skip her for this time. She apologized. She
Okay,
had
thank
a
you.
meeting pop up.
Okay. And I don't think anybody's here from Gary Leach Navigation Center either, so we'll pass on that and go on to housing updates. Janelle, we'll go to you. Thank you.
Yeah, for a housing authority, with all the continuing resolutions going on with the federal budget, we are on a standstill with issuing vouchers on our Section 8. So right now, the last poll they did was for August of 24. They'll be cleaning up any outstanding invitations for that poll. And then hopefully within it'll probably be later in the spring that we do some more top of wait list letters out to Section 8 applicants on the wait list. We did also get done purging our public housing wait list, which was quite long. So if you're working with anybody that has applications in for the low rent public housing program, make sure they check their status if they don't know for sure if they're still active, if they want to be active. So because we withdrew quite a bit of people for return mail. So I'll be checking with your participants on that. Then on the HTAG side of things, we have the activities this month. There are point in time count. Well, I should say are. You can host the point in time count tomorrow with a lot of community members being partners in that and helping with outreach and counting and stuff. And so there'll be tables and resources set up at St. Joseph's Church, along with roving teams around the county to try to and capture as many unhoused individuals as possible to submit to mandatory reporting to HUD. So that's a big event tomorrow. We had activation of warming centers both day and evening overnight by UCAN and Jacob Schluster and family downtown at St. George's Church. So this last week, as you guys know, has been really cold, and so it's been a relief to have those individuals and agencies providing the warming center options for the unhoused as well. That is my updates.
Okay. So I know the warming center has been very well attended in the last week, according to what I've seen and heard. I'm very appreciative of the people going out there and volunteering to help the unhoused during this cold weather. Any other questions for Janelle? Thank you, Janelle, for your report. Going to Habitat for Humanity. Robin, do you have any report for us?
Yes, hi, I'm Robin Hartman with the Executive Director of Umpqua Valley Habitat for Humanity. And Corey, do you want me to provide this little slideshow at this time?
I can share if you're not able to. That's
Oh,
fine.
no, I'm ready. I was just gonna tell you about a few things that we're doing at Habitat, and let's see here. We've got, can you guys see that?
It came up fine.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to, we've got about 4 or 5 areas that we work in, and we're, building homes, getting ready to build homes down in Riddle, in neighborhood that on property. We bought 20 lots down there. We're building 6 homes, and we've selected our families. They're between 35 and 80% of the adjusted mean income for Douglas County. So those will have these families working on their homes over the summer and all this coming year. Secondly, we're opening our Habitat Restore across from the library in the Old Connects Auto Parts building. And we feel like it's really going to happen in February, that we'll do a soft open there. We'll have gently used furniture and building supplies and jobs. We're going to have sales associates and donation ambassadors and a volunteer opportunity there. I really would appreciate any advice on, you know, we recognize that we will be on the pathway and we have opportunities there outside of our facility for unhoused. And we've noticed we kind of wanted to put together a flyer or a handout to people have wanted to use our water spigots for washing their hair and fresh water, electrical outlet for charging their phone, our porta potty for, you know, relief. And let's see what else, the outlet for plugging in a heater. So we were hoping to put together a flyer that just says, here's where you can go and get fresh water. Here's where you can go and charge your phone. And so our homeowner services person, it will be reaching out and trying to work with folks just to see if we can help direct people where they can find better resources. So any help there, any thoughts about that would be appreciated. Our third area that we work in is, of course, home repair, critical home repair. And I just kind of wanted to go over, I just put together this report at the end of a grant, and I just thought I'd share this with you so you guys can be thinking about what it means to do home repair. And we're kind of on the cusp of where people are making the decision about what to do if they can't stay in their homes. And so we do a lot of work for people who have trouble with access to their homes. This was a home we worked on in Myrtle Creek, trying to improve access for a wheelchair. We're working down in Myrtle Creek on another project where we set up a IDA or a match savings account for a homeowner to replace. They haven't had hot water for 2 years. They needed a refrigerator. We were able to get them a refrigerator. Just access on the steps and the landing. Here is a place we worked on Kane Street where there was no heat in the home. We were able to install heat, paint the whole house, put in new soffits, fence the perimeter of the yard where it was dangerous. And that was a fairly intensive repair project. We partnered with library revitalization in Idlewild Park last year and had Job Corps help us as well, repairing access to the front and the back of a mobile home. Here's another example in Myrtle Creek where an elderly person was having trouble in falling on the way to the sidewalk. And so we kind of built a little bit of a bridge between their front porch and the sidewalk. We had a caseworker contact us about a problem in a home where there was a lot of subfloor problem. And so we repaired bathrooms and a laundry room and leaks, and then also replaced on the left, or you can see there was a kind of a carpet that was saturated with pet urine. And so it was removing that and putting in a floor that could be more easily cleaned. A homeowner needed a ramp. The current ramp was too steep, so we lifted the end of the ramp and added to it to make it more accessible. We simply we do a lot of this replacing stairs with a simple ramp. This was a homeowner who had a back porch where she had a lot of items collected, and the whole area was deteriorating, so we replaced the roof over that, and the homeowner was able to clean up her area there. This home, even though this seems kind of not related to access, the home was deteriorating because of the gutters, and there was becoming a lot of trouble with the roof because of gutters. So the guys went out and replaced gutters so that the home would maintain its integrity. And finally, this one we're kind of in the middle of right now, where there's dangerous access on the front and the back of a home. And so it's kind of replacing the porches and the stairs and the railing and making it more safer. So in general, we work on Repair Wednesdays. So every Wednesday from about 9 to 2. And so we always seek volunteers to help. Everybody gets a free lunch. And there's quite the camaraderie once people do this over the years. So that's kind of it for the repairs. I don't know how to get back out of this. Oh, here we go. I could do this. And finally, one other thing I wanted to say is we're from Habitat International has always been involved internationally we have Habitat programs in a lot of different nations that are run by those countries. And so this is the first year after COVID, believe it or not, that US affiliates like ours are engaging with what's called Global Village. And so we've got 2 of our volunteers and staff going down to Mexico City in April and 2 in May. So we're excited about our first ever participation in that program so we can learn what Mexico's doing on climate change and earthquake protection and just learn from them and learn new skills. Anyway, that's what we've got going on. Thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome.
These are tremendously worthwhile projects you're doing, and I'm very proud of the houses you're building in Riddle now. You say there's 6 houses, and you've already identified the people that are going to be in those houses.
Yes, we have selected families and individuals, and they're, being so patient and connected with us and dedicated to their efforts while we're building our first ever road, sewer. We're putting in the infrastructure before we start on their homes this summer. And so the homeowners will be, right now they're going through kind of a pre-approval process with lenders to get into a USDA 502 loan or similar products. And then we'll work with them to get down payment assistance that will take care of a sizable portion of the cost of the home construction, as well as these individual development accounts that will be matched 5 to 1 for every dollar they put in. They get a $5 match. And so it helps low income and moderate income folks get into a home and stay in a home because they'll have an affordable mortgage to pay and energy efficient home.
Very good. Yeah. Do they help build their houses too? So kind of like a sweat equity type thing.
Yes. And this will be the first time that we've had 2 families at once before. We've done that a couple times where we have 2 families working side by side on their homes, 2 homes. And this will be the first time where we'll have 6 families going. So we envision that we're going to be working every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, every Saturday, with kind of different leadership every other Saturday so that we don't take up our leaderships every Saturday. But the families will be working every Saturday with everybody they can gather in the communities and their friends and families. And we'll probably do, so they put in what we call sweat equity, which brings in pride of ownership and just builds, we're hoping to build neighborhood connections. These 6 families are going to be neighbors for possibly a long, long time. So it's exciting to bring them all together.
Excellent program. Excellent program. Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Robin?
Robin, can you stop sharing your screen? That way we can see the other.
Yeah, I'll try to do that. Let's see. Let's see here.
I got a question. Can I have a question for Robin?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Robin, do you guys use for the elderly people that need repairs on their house? Do you use that USDA grant that's $10,000?
We haven't used that, but we're just slowly kind of getting into the right kind of funding. But we've never accessed that funding yet. But we've learned about it.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's 6 homeowners that own. They're over 62 years old. They
Okay.
have a certain income range that they don't pass, and then it's for different window improvements, heating and air, handicap accessibility, such as a lot of the stairs that you have in here. And
Yeah,
they can
thank
get,
you,
yeah,
Bernie.
so
That's,
I would look at that.
yeah, I'll connect with you on that because, yeah, funding, is the biggest issue for folks. We offer a 0% interest 1 to 2 year loan where they put down $100 and then they pay over the price or the period of 1 to 2 years. So we bring a repair that may be from $500 to $5,000 down to something that's affordable. And then secondly, with these IDA savings accounts, every dollar they put in, they have 5 additional dollars, so they can, put together $7,000 to $10,000 pretty, over a few months or over the course of a year if they've got a repair like a roof replacement. And we can use that for them to, either reduce the cost of a roof that would, cost $20,000 and bring it down to $10,000 with this program. Still, repairs are expensive and we require, the savings account, homeowners have to put together a repair budget for their home and do kind of a worksheet on that, just to help them prepare for the future and realize what repairs need to get done in the future on their home.
Right. Good job.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
You're welcome.
Can you exit our screen there, Robin?
Oh, well, I tried and I'm sorry about that. What do I need to do here? Maybe you can talk me through it. I have under share. What do I select to unshare?
Does something show when you click the share button again? To
When I
unshare?
click the share button again, it comes up and it shows options to share, and it's selected. I'm sorry about this, you guys. I'm not sure how to unselect.
Oop.
How about if I leave and just come back in? Will that work?
Okay. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Got it. Okay. Okay, moving on. Bernie, do you have a report for us? Or Bernie, oh, there. Bernie, are you here? There he is. Bernie, are you? Is Bernie here? Okay, Bernie, we're ready for you.
What are we ready for? Hey,
Anything you have to offer.
okay, well, probably our tent camp stuff. We've gotten, I can't remember what the date was. I got to join you guys last time, but we're running all 3 of our camps pretty good right now. We've during the bad weather we had there, Christmas Eve, we had a bad storm that took out our south camp down on Maselli. So we had to scurry around for about 3 days putting that back together. Then the water floods came up and got real close to our Washington Bridge camp. So we've had a battle with the elements over the last. So I see what a lot of the people living outside unhoused deal with every day. And so we've gone back into the city, 2 city council meetings ago to ask for some revisions to the tent camp resolution, which would allow us to create some more stable environments like the Conestoga huts you see in some cities, possibly yurts, smaller yurts. A couple other things that we brought up that could be more permanent, that we don't have to worry about the wind blowing and we've got a problem. In the meantime, we've kind of gotten a lady involved with us named Connie Wesley Riley out of Oakland. That's been a really godsend, helping with private donations. So we've had a lot of support by private individuals in the community over the last few months. That's really been an incredible part of our program now, and so we're adding that in where a lot of times a lot of the private donors, a lot of them are even elderly, giving $50 to try to make sure somebody has a sleeping bag. And so it's a really good thing. We're keeping good track of it. Connie is, about who all donates. So those are all good things that we've created to create funding, because all of basically the different times that we've applied for grant applications, for one reason or another, we don't meet the requirements with our tent camp. So we're trying to do the best we can to keep going with all 3 camps, so we can make a difference. Over the winter, the numbers have been down. I think we're averaging about 7 to 8, 9 people per camp. Sometimes it gets down to about 4. But overall, we're probably at about 11,000 total nights that we've served, day nights, where people can come in and keep their belongings inside the camp. In our work programs, what we end up with is one person always is watching the camp, so people can leave their possessions in the tent camps, as opposed to out in the camps out in the park. When somebody leaves their camp, they don't know if anybody is protecting it or not. So we're trying to make that a little bit better. We put in kind of a marker board out in front of the Pine Street camp that tells people there's camping available and legal camping. I think we're not getting our outreach to the homeless in the community. I don't think we're getting our word out good enough. So anybody has any suggestions on that, I'd sure appreciate that. We've even in our sign in front of the Pine Street camp, we put no fees on it, so they know they don't have to pay anything to come in. We've gone a little bit. We've expanded to a new thing that my son came up with, where the camp cleanups this is kind of weird, but where the city has the camp cleanups, they were running out of volunteers because volunteers are just getting tired of doing the same thing, moving one camp to the next area into the next area. And so we've actually got 9 of our campers that are on the volunteer list to help the city with those cleanups. And so it's kind of a move in the right direction. Those are some of the things that we want our program to work into, not just keeping clean around the camp and the properties around the camp, but trying to figure out how we can help the community, those people that are camp participants in our tent camps, that they can help the community in different things. Like in the summertime, we'll have a river cleanup where we're going down into the river when the water gets below 3 feet. And so we can start pulling out a lot of the old car body parts. I shouldn't say body parts, but car body parts and concrete and things like that, so we can start beautification of our rivers. So we can utilize their helping the police with the cleanups, because some of those are pretty brutal. Some of those guys are getting pretty depressed. Even the police officers, having to do the same thing all the time until we all figure out how to get this fixed. We've also petitioned the city about expanding. Janelle and Corey was both there last night. We've at the city council meeting. We petitioned the city about expanding our camps instead of just allowing us to have 10 tents. Why can't we have 20 or 30 tents in each one of our locations, except the bridge camp, because it's in a smaller area up there. But if we can get the city to approve our Pine Street camp to expand it to the 28 to 40 camps that it could be, because it's on an acre of property, or the tent camp we call South Camp down at Zero Maselli, those would be great things if they would allow us to expand. Then we can take more people in that are out there in Deer Creek Park or whatever other parks there are. The number that Dane gave a while ago was kind of staggering at 748 or 754 people. I wasn't quite counting on that, but that's a huge number. But if we can get the Maselli Park expanded and then then create things better, like Connex buildings around the outside that we would renovate, so that each 40-foot Connex building would hold six people, and then start building our tiny home program probably on that project. Because just to be honest, our Washington Bridge, so everybody knows, our Washington Bridge project and our Pine Street project are basically just temporary until we all get through this problem with the unhoused in the community. Once we fix that, our goal is to move those camps down to the Maselli Park area, and possibly that larger camp that I think I talked about last time here, that we haven't had any more work done on it yet. We still have to do a $3,500 plus environmental study to get that larger camp approved. If that larger camp's ever approved, it's up to 5 acres of land that we would do 1 acre at a time, that you would think of 40,000 just as an easy number for an acre, surrounded by Connex buildings that are painted a good green color, so the community likes it on the outside, and it's sitting 9 feet tall. They can't see in to see the camps. And then on the inside, the Connexes on the perimeter have people in them. And then the tents, we start with tents on the inside of that 40,000 square foot area surrounded by Connexes. And then we start converting those to tiny houses, Conestoga huts, yurts, whatever it takes for some kind of transitional living that's not a tent, and that would last a lot longer. Because definitely tents are not the end game of this whole program. We've got to get to something that's an alternative living style, not even apartments. You know, a lot of these guys, they get into apartments and they can't pay the bills, and they get into houses and they can't pay, and they're always going back, and they're out again, and we have to deal with those things, or they have to deal with them. If we can figure a different kind of housing, being the Connex renovations that last long term, or tiny home community, I think that's our answer to keeping people off of the streets. But I think that's about it. We're at about, I think as of last week, we were at 11,000 total day nights of people that have stayed in our camps since inception 16 months ago. And that's, to me, that's keeping people with a safe place to stay, where their belongings are guarded. They get to have potable water. They have a place to go to the bathroom. They're not looking for it. They're not criticized for it. Their garbage is removed, but they help. You know, that they're becoming self-sustaining, that they'll need to be later in life. I think that's all the points I got. I've re-scratched so many notes of you guys' comments that were so great over my comments, but I think I've got everything that's what I wanted to say. Thanks, guys.
Bernie.
Thank you, Bernie. Yeah, go ahead,
Hey.
Jamil.
Is there somewhere online for the donations, or do you have a point of contact on if there was donations that can be made, to how to go about getting that to you guys?
We've been using our Facebook page, and Connie Wesley Riley is CONNI, and then Wesley Riley's RILEW or EY, and then, or myself. But it's working a lot better for her. She's this is kind of her life, liking to put this together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie. Doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Bernie?
I had one question for the
moving on.
comments.
Oh, go
Bernie,
ahead.
if you have flyers available, if you could send them our way, we could hand them out during like connecting points and encourage people to connect with you all. The other thing is, like, SOAB has a community healthcare worker training, and that might be like some of the people living in your villages right now, like getting them in that community healthcare worker, because that really, like, when you have peer and community healthcare workers working with these people within the system and having lived experience, that really could help navigate like getting them in apartments and stability when that connection. But there's some free programs for doing like community healthcare worker that, if you're not aware of, I can send a couple your way.
Okay. Yeah, and we have a flyer, Dane, that basically shows where all three camps are and just says, hey, show up, and there's no barriers kind of thing, no paperwork. You just show up and talk to the host, show a picture of your ID or get a picture of yourself and sign our little disclaimer. We try to make it as easy as possible for people to get in there. But I'll send it to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie. Any other questions? Okay, going to our community presentations, Chadwick Clubhouse, Trista.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for letting me be a part of your guys' updates today. We have lots of new things happening, lots of changes. I'm new here, and so my name is Trista Saltikoff. I'm serving as interim program director. As most of you know, Lori moved on to do some of her important, impactful work elsewhere in the community. We've had massive changes this year. We've moved our location twice due to some structural damage. Our building was having some issues, so now we've landed in a permanent home, and we've been here for a few months. The building is beautiful. We love it here. It's 2 stories. It's got room for growth. It's amazing, and we're getting all settled in. We are, because of that and having the space to do it, we're really going to start focusing on expanding our referral base. And our membership. So we're looking to do tours, community presentations, get connected with our partners a little bit better. Through that, we've actually discovered we used to do all of our referrals through mental health professionals, which would be like ADAPT or the VA. We have recently discovered we don't have to do that, and person doesn't need to have a severe mental illness, and it's really probably restricted some of our membership in the past. So in order to be a member, you have to be 18 and over. You need to have a diagnosis, mental health diagnosis. It does not have to be a severe one, and it can come through any individual that's working with a member, any community partner. It does not have to be through a mental health professional. So that being said, like, we're really going to get out there and start doing presentations with everybody. And so aside from that, we started our first transitional employment placement, which is a huge deal. We're working with Sunrise Enterprises. They let us carve out a position. What a TE placement is, with whatever employer that we're working with, it's a permanent location for us to put a member into to gain employment experience. They get paid for the job, they get hired on, it only lasts for 9 months, and then they transition out of it. And a new member can go in and get that experience. That way people can get go in and get a job with their experience. It's a great program. We're supposed to have 2 of them right now. We need to work on having another one, but this is huge movement for us. We currently have our staff member training and our member going through the background check and all of this stuff to get in there. We've had recently some good housing successes. Since December, we've had 6 individuals become housed. 3 of them were unsheltered. 4 of them were unsheltered. 2 moved into permanent housing, the others into transitional housing. Then we had 1 move from transitional housing into a permanent house. So we were really excited about being able to help people get into housing. Something else that's really, really huge for us, tomorrow we actually have Clubhouse International flying in from Canada and Indiana to do an accreditation on us. So we can become a part of, there's 350 clubhouses worldwide. And the program is proven to reduce hospitalization, incarceration for people suffering mental illness. And so to be actually accredited is amazing. We're really excited about that. We're amping up and doing our tour trainings and stuff right now. So they're going to be with us for 3 days, and then on Friday they'll give us their findings. We are working with UC Veg. They're going to help us with our farm to table initiative. We're going to build a community garden for our members that will be able to sustain our lunches that we have here. So we'll be able to use fresh produce to cook the meals with, and also to be able to send home with our members. And let's see some of our stats right now. We have 2 out of 3 of our staff members CHW trained, which is super awesome. We're going to work on training everybody. Our daily average right now is 7. It's dropped a little bit since our moves. Stability is really hard they really count on us to be stable, and we've moved around so much. So we're going to have to boost that. 33 unduplicated members though served within the past 90 days. And then our current membership is about 152. So yeah, and how do you give a referral if any of you end up working with somebody? Somebody just has to self-declare that they have a diagnosis. Our referrals are on our website. And on the referral itself, it says how you can either fax it or email it. The process is super easy. And so, yeah, we're looking get a hold of me if anybody wants a tour, or we can come do a presentation. It'd be super great. So I think that's it.
Thank you, Trista. Any questions for Trista? Appreciate your involvement here, Trista, and I know that Chadwick Clubhouse has been a great partner for all of the people here in the area. So thank you.
It is amazing, and I think
Okay.
our biggest goal is just reaching everybody in the community right now. So thank you.
Yeah. And the sharing of information is really, really important. Okay, moving on to Jesse Spain, Painted Horse Recovery.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Glad to be here. My name is Jesse Spain. I'm the Regional Director of Painted Horse Recovery. And Painted Horse Recovery is a culturally specific to Native American program and other Indigenous people program. We primarily serve that population, but we do not turn anybody away. We provide peer-delivered services, and we've opened up a new recovery center here in Roseburg. We're looking for our grand opening to be February 21st. And Painted Horse has been a program up in Portland for about 4 years, and it is an amazing program. We've already got 3 clients and we're not even open yet. And so what kind of services do we provide? For example, a houseless person was referred to us yesterday by the ADAPT peers, and we brought him in. We got him signed up for services. He's looking to improve his situation. And so we took him over to Cow Creek Behavioral Health so he could receive some culturally specific outpatient treatment services. He doesn't have an identification card, so we're going to pay for that. What other services we provide? We'll basically walk people through the continuum of care, all the way from being houseless to helping them access treatment services if they need it, or they need to go to DHS, or they need to go to their probation officer. We'll pick them up, we'll take them wherever they need to go. We'll sit with them while they go through those things and bring them back to the center where they can hang out, drink some coffee, socialize, maybe get some food. We provide, snacks and stuff like that. We do a lot of cultural events where we'll have like elk stew or buffalo stew, drumming, and we're open 7 days a week, and we're open till 10 o'clock at night. And so we're providing those services that other programs aren't able to because of time restraints. And let's see what else we do. We'll take people out to cultural spots around and, just help them reconnect with the land, help them reconnect with culture, and reconnect with recovery services. We'll have meetings here throughout the week, 7 days a week. We'll have a women's meeting that's going to be on Tuesday, and just all kinds of great services we're going to be able to provide our recovery community here in town. And I'll put my contact information in the chat. And if anybody has any additional questions, they can feel free to reach out to me. I'll make myself available. If you want me to come and give a presentation at your organization, I would love to do that. We also have it on our radar. We work really closely with the program called Oregon Recovers. And on April 14th, and I'll have flyers to give to everybody. We will be putting on a 1-day kind of conference down at the casino where we'll offer 8 free CEUs for those of you who need those continue education hours for your certifications. And what we'll be going over is the Native American tribal best practices, which has been approved by SAMHSA. So I don't know if there's anybody in here whose programs do any billing or anything, but now in Oregon, we're able to bill for those culturally specific services, and that's through using the tribal best practices that my executive director, Jared, helped create. Yeah, that's about it. We're ready to get started here. Anybody else have any questions?
Jesse, where are you going to be? You said you're opening February 23rd. Where are you going to be located?
Oh, we're located at 1941 Northeast Stevens Avenue, right by the 1 a.m. Minute Market, right next to the ESD.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Very good. Any other questions for Jesse?
Jesse,
Okay.
can you hear me
Go
okay?
ahead.
I can.
Hi, I'm Teresa with WorkSource, and I'm not sure if you guys would be part of this, but anyways, for DMV, there's a form that you can fill out for people to get their ID for free.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it says I'm reading it. It has to be an organization or a state agency represented. So I don't know
Okay.
if you want to talk to DMV to see if your organization can be on their list.
Sure, absolutely. We would definitely qualify for that.
Okay. Yeah. And then we just do that with our folks, and it's free. So we just fill out. I don't think you can really see. I'm not good with, but
Yeah, okay, I see that. Yeah, and I would love to come by WorkSource, and I'll give you a couple flyers, and I'll come by and introduce myself. That's one place I haven't gone yet is WorkSource. So that's a great idea. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Very good. And that's what we do best here, is share information and give everybody more resources other than what they already offer. So thank you very much, Jesse.
And I also
Great
plan on
idea.
working closely with Bernie, because I know there's going to come a time where he's got some people living in his camps and they're going to want to access peer services. And so me and Bernie have been good buddies here for a while as I've been getting this program developed. And we also offer free opiate education to staff and provide staff with Narcan or any members of the community who need Narcan. We do a lot of opioid awareness. Our program is completely grant funded through the opioid settlement. And so that's a big part of what we do. And all of our services are free too, by the way.
Okay. Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely.
it. Hope you come back and keep us updated on what
Oh,
you're
for
doing.
sure I will. I got to get across town. I got a 1 o'clock meeting across town, so I'm probably going to dip out of here in about 5 minutes. But I'm grateful to be here and be a part of this community and seeing how we can improve the conditions of our community for those who are less fortunate.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
Okay, roundtable updates. Corey?
Most of it was just informational added to the packet. The only thing I just kind of wanted to briefly highlight are our Mary call numbers. So what I did on the attachment when I sent it out, I have our total for 24, but I also put 2023. So when Cheryl was reporting how many calls Mobile Crisis has had, what I'm noticing is that all the calls she's getting is showing the huge reduction that 911 is getting. So that's good. That's the purpose of her program, is that people shift from calling 911 for mental health issues and start calling her program. So this is a monster decrease when you look at the numbers from 3,270 down to 262. For reports taken by law enforcement, there were 62 last year. There's only been 11 this year. And then when we look at arrests, they only had 10 last year, which is a small number, but we've had 0 this year. So I think that's also a good thing to note. That was quick, but I did send it with the agenda. I can resend it if some didn't get it, but I always like to show those. I like the numbers, I like the stats. The other items, we have our 108th Hope Drug Court graduation this next Monday. It is a Monday instead of a Tuesday because the fairgrounds was busy on Tuesday, but it's next Monday, 5:15 at the fairgrounds. It's in that first building, the Cascade Hall. And Judge Johnson and I attended the Roseburg City Council meeting last night so he could talk about it and invite them personally. I've sent several invitations, but he kind of felt like it was time to talk to him face to face and see if that would entice some of them to attend. We did have a lady that was at council that spoke up during audience participation that ran out after us when we were leaving, saying that she used to work for the Oregon Youth Authority. So she was super excited to hear about the program, and she's going to come to our graduation on Monday. We have 4 folks graduating, and that is down from our original number. That tends to happen. That doesn't mean we had any relapses or anything. It's usually because we're very strict at this end stage of the program, and you can't miss a UA, you can't miss appointments. By this point in the graduation phase, you really should have most things figured out. And so when there's these odd glitches, the judge is like, maybe you're not ready, or some of them unfortunately self-sabotage because they've realized they're not quite ready. And that's not a bad thing. They just need some more time and help with what they're doing so they can be at their best when they do graduate. So no fault of their own as far as anything major. Just want to point that out. So we're super proud of the ones that have been in this phase and proud of our 4 graduates. So hopefully you guys can see the event live. I will Zoom it to a few people, but if there is someone that's super interested that doesn't want to attend, but you want to watch via Zoom, let me know. We don't share the Zoom link out publicly because our service out there is kind of spotty with Wi-Fi. So we do what we can with what we have. That is all I had, other than just, I know Janelle said good luck on traveling to Rochelle and I when we went to Philadelphia. We went there the week before Christmas, and it was a great conference. One thing that really was a major eye-opener for the both of us, we did a simulation, and the simulation involved us. We each had our own individualized story. Then we had a little packet with some fake money. Maybe Rochelle had 1 out of 3 IDs. I think she had more than that, but I had 2 out of 3 ID pieces that I had to have. You had 5 bus tickets. So they split it in 3 weeks, and I think it was about 15 minutes a week. And each week you had different things you had to do. So mine, I had to pay my rent. I had to see my parole officer. I had to go to treatment. I had to check in with my part-time job. I was able to do everything except pay my rent. By the time we were done, I couldn't pay rent. So I lost my, fictitious apartment and had to go into a shelter. And then the second week, when I went to my I went to do a UA, and they have these cards on the table. I pulled the card that said I had a dirty UA, so I had to report to my parole officer. So I report to the parole officer. He gave me some grace, but said, you need to go to treatment and figure out the root of your problem. So then I went to treatment, and the card I ended up pulling was that I no-showed and missed my appointment. Go talk to your parole officer. So I had to go back to the parole officer, and he's like, well, I cut you slack the first time. I'm not this time. I'm going to put you in jail as your sanction. So then I was in jail the rest of my second week. And oddly enough, by the 3rd week, Rochelle's fictitious name was called, mine was called, and I don't know, maybe a dozen or so others. We had to go to the front of the room just for them to say, we've done something at some point, we're all going to jail as the outcome. So unfortunately, I was in jail a week and a half of my simulation. Rochelle was in jail 1 of her 3-week simulations. And it was just, what I loved about it, there were parole officers, there were counselors, there were people like Rochelle's discharge planner, people like me that's doing grants. We don't always see the other side. Bernie probably does the most, and Daisy, and Kim. There's a lot of you folk, and Janelle, you guys are out there working with folks, but we got to see it from their lens. And so many people were stressed out, upset, nervous, frustrated, you know, there was a lot of emotions. They had a board that we could write on and list out emotions. And it was a lot of what we hear in court, or what I hear in court when I attend. And it was just good to see that even when they're trying to do their best and do everything they're supposed to, things happen and showed the outcome. So I would like to, you know, Rochelle and I were really jazzed about, we would like to bring a simulation here to Douglas County. And so I've been in the works with the folks that did the conference, and I had a couple people reply. So they're checking to see what the process would be to actually get something like that here. And if we do that, I'd like to have it somehow based from the main LPSCC program, but then invite a bunch of community partners. And I think that would be really interesting for us. I don't know if it's something I can make really big and get it out at the fairgrounds to get more people, but I do think it's beneficial, because I really think we get in ruts and we forget what it's like on the other side. So that was my tidbit, unless Rochelle has something she wants to share from the conference. It was very cold. It was very educational.
That was a great summary of it. It was really interesting to just be surrounded by other folks in reentry work, and hear from leaders across the country who are doing this, and hear from people who have lived experience, who have been incarcerated, and told us their stories from their point of view of being incarcerated and the barriers that they experience. And then, like Corey said, we then lived it also with that simulation. And sometimes it's like they're being set up for failure. And it's so frustrating, and they're trying so hard, and there's so many barriers. And so it was just really amazing to go to that conference. It was a great experience.
Very, very, I agree. That's a tremendous amount of hurdles that some of these people have to go through, and especially if they're have other issues, maybe a slight mental illness, or obviously drug abuse or something like that, and trying to keep themselves on the straight and narrow. Very, very difficult, especially when they have all these other hurdles to go through. So, yes, I can see why that would be stressful, just to have to go through all those things. Do we have any other roundtable updates that we need to, anybody else have anything else they want to bring up before we go through adjournment?
I am
Anything
glad to
else?
see Teresa on here, and if she doesn't mind, I'd like to have her talk more about what they do at a future meeting, if you're open to that.
Sure.
She's on mute, but
I'm sorry, me. Hi.
Yes, do you want to
Well,
talk at a future
sure.
meeting? more
Or
about
I
what you
can,
offer?
okay, I can, sure. If you want me to do an overview now, or are we kind of just wrapping it up?
Yeah, we're over time, right? We try to
Okay.
keep it an hour, so
Okay,
we're
yes,
a little over
yes.
today, but we had awesome information. So I would
Okay,
like to
perfect.
come back and discuss what you guys offer.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Teresa. That would be great. So if we have nothing else to discuss, our next meeting is Tuesday, February 25th. Same place, same time. Hope everybody can attend. And if we have nothing else to go through, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And like I said, information sharing is what we do here best. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.